Good afternoon. My name is William Brown, and it is my distinct honor to call this meeting to order. This is the inaugural meeting of the Tennessee Fish and Wildlife Commission. At this time, I'm going to call on Commissioner Clayton Stout to give the invocation.
Let us pray. Lord, thank you for this gathering here today. Thank you for the great state of Tennessee. Lord, thank you for the individuals that have given their time and their efforts here for this committee. Give us wisdom as we go through the topics here today. Lord, we ask you for safe travel for all the individuals as they go back to their families. Bring us back here safely together again next month to continue creating the kingdom that you created and given it its conservation for our future generations. We praise you, Lord. Let's be a light in this shining world. We ask you to be of our men and women who continue to fight for our freedom throughout the world. And guide us, lead us. Thank you for all your blessings. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's the one thing we forgot to tell. Oh, where the flag was? Yeah, it's all right.
At this time, I'm going to recognize a couple of guests that are here for the commission meeting today. Larry Richardson from Waverly is the current state chairman of the Ducks Unlimited. There's Chris Nation. Chris is with the Wildlife Federation and also guides hunting and fishing in the state of Tennessee. Give you a little background. At this time, the Fish and Wildlife Commission, which was created by the 107th Legislature, or Tennessee General Assembly, in May of this year, is now the governing body of the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency. It replaces the former governing body, the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Commission. The purpose of this meeting is to elect the officers of the commission, adopt some procedural guidelines, and to discuss the general organizational structure in moving forward in the duties we have been asked to perform. There are 13 members of the commission. 9 are appointed by the governor, 2 from the Speaker of the Senate, 2 from the Speaker of the House. The terms of our offices are staggered so that there will always be continuity and historical perspective within the commission members. The 9 members appointed by the governor are appointed to specific districts and represents the counties within that district. The members appointed by the respective speakers are statewide in nature. At this time, I would like to introduce the members of the commission and the districts which they represent. District 1 is Commissioner Clayton Stout, and the counties which he represents in his district are shown on the screen at this time. District 2 is Commissioner Harold Cannon, and he is reappointed. He was on the previous commission and was reappointed to this commission at this time. And also the terms of the commissioners are on there. District 3 is Commissioner Jim Bledsoe from Jamestown, and the counties which he represents are shown on the screen at this time. I represent District 4. I'm from Chattanooga, and the counties which I represent in District 4 are being currently shown. Commissioner Jamie Woodson represents District 5. She is from Lebanon, Tennessee, and her counties are currently shown on the screen. Commissioner Schuster, Julie Schuster, also a former commissioner from the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Commission, represents District 6, and her counties are listed on the screen. Commissioner Jeff Griggs is from District 7 from Lexington, Tennessee, and the counties he represents are shown. He too is a former member of the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Commission. Commissioner Trey Teague is District 8. He is from Jackson, Tennessee, and also a former member of the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Commission, and the counties which he represents are being shown at this time. District 9 is represented by Commissioner Bill Cox from Collierville. Commissioner Cox is a former member of the commission prior to this last commission, and the counties that he represents are shown at this time. Commissioner Jim Ripley is a statewide commissioner. He was appointed by, is it Speaker Harwell? Yeah, by by Speaker Beth Harwell, and as I said, he is a statewide commissioner. Another statewide commissioner, Commissioner Tom Rice from Nashville, and you were also appointed by Speaker of the House, is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. The other statewide representatives or commissioners, Dr. Jeff McMillan from Bristol, Tennessee. Dr. McMillan was also a former member of the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Commission. Commissioner James Stroud from Nashville is also a statewide commissioner, and of course they represent the entire state of Tennessee. And then the executive director of the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency is Ed Carter. I want to ask if Barbara Hayes with the Executive Director's Office, if she will have a roll call to determine if there is a quorum present for this initial meeting.
Jim Bledsoe.
Here.
Jim Bledsoe is present. Bill Cox.
Here.
Bill Cox is present. Harold Cannon.
Here.
Harold Cannon is present. Jeff Griggs.
Here.
Jeff Griggs is present. Jeff McMillan.
Here.
Jeff McMillan is present. Tom Rice.
Here.
Tom Rice is present. William Brown.
Here?
William Brown is present. Jim Ripley.
Here.
Jim Ripley is present. Julie Schuster.
Here.
Julie Schuster is present. Clayton Stout.
Here.
Clayton Stout is present. James Stroud.
Here.
James Stroud is present. Trey Teague.
Here.
Trey Teague is present. Jamie Woodson.
Here.
Jamie Woodson is present.
Commission members, all are present. You have a quorum.
Thank you. At this time, I'll ask if there's any commissioners that would like to make a comment before we go any further into the meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to commend the Executive Director. This last 2 days of orientation has been a wonderful experience for me, and I think for all the rest of us who are coming on board. And we very much appreciate the hard job that you have in getting us up to steam in this little bit of time. And it was very, very well done, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Ripley. I don't know how they all got tongue-tied all of a sudden, but anyway, we'll proceed. The next order of business is to elect the officers of the commission. State law prescribes that we elect a chairman, a vice chairman, and a secretary. The law also prescribes that the executive director of the Wildlife Resources Agency will serve as the recording secretary. For the purposes of electing officers of the commission, I'll ask Director Carter, who is director of the agency, to facilitate that session. So, Director Carter, we will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Commissioner Brown. Commissioners, as was stated, there are 3 offices that we need to consider today, that being the chair, vice chair, and the secretary of the Fish and Wildlife Commission. Terms of office are for a year, and I know that we will discuss at some point how that will interact with the terms of your office. We can certainly do that at a later commission meeting. Without objection, I'll ask for nominations from the floor for each of those offices separately. Commissioner Rice.
I would like to nominate Judge Brown as our chair.
Excuse me, sir?
I'd like to nominate Judge Brown to be our chair going
Yes.
forward, or is that an automatic?
No, sir, it was not.
Second.
Second.
Have a nomination and a second for William Brown of Chattanooga as Chair of the Fish and Wildlife Commission. Any other nominations? Accept the nominations, to close the nominations at this time.
Move to close nomination.
Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded to cease nominations. Is there any objection to going forward with the question? Hearing none, all in favor of William Brown as Chair of the Fish and Wildlife Commission, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none, William Brown is elected as Chair of the Fish and Wildlife Commission. I'll now move to Vice Chair. We'll take nominations for Vice Chair.
I'd like to nominate Jeff McMillan.
Commissioner Griggs nominates Jeff McMillan for Vice Chair. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and second. Any other nominations? Except a motion to move to close nominations?
So moved.
Moved and second to close nominations. Without objection, be voting for Jeff McMillan of Bristol, Tennessee as Vice Chair of the Fish and Wildlife Commission. Hearing no objections, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There being none, Jeff McMillan is Vice Chair. Now move to the office of Secretary to accept nominations for that office.
I'd like to nominate Jeff Griggs.
Commissioner Bledsoe nominates Jeff Griggs for Secretary of the, there's been a second. Other nominations?
Move to close nomination.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and second to close nominations. Without objection, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There being none, Jeff Griggs is the Secretary of the Fish and Wildlife Commission, so the officers are William Brown as Chair, Jeff McMillan as Vice Chair, and Jeff Griggs as Secretary of the Fish and Wildlife Commission. With no further business for me, I'll turn it back over to the just duly elected Chair, Chairman Brown.
The next order of business is to select meeting dates and locations for the August, September, and October meetings. And each of us has in our notebook some dates recommended by the agency, and certainly those are just recommendations for all of us to consider. And as well as I said, the location. So I believe, Director Carter, these are Thursday and Friday dates, is that correct?
They are, Mr. Chairman. Those are based on previous meeting dates of the commission. If it's strictly at the whim of the commission as to which days you do meet, we threw those out as a thing to start with, and they are Thursday, Friday dates.
Okay, that's what I guess there's a calendar somewhere in our notebook, but I thought that was the case. So is there any discussion about the proposed dates that are listed? August meeting is 23rd and 24th, October 25th and 26th, and then November 29th for the proposed legislative package.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask a question?
Yes.
Are the dates that are the optional dates, will those be set in this conversation as well, the list of dates that were provided in our book? I wanted to give at least the conflicts that I know I have now on this list, and certainly it doesn't need to impact the conversation at all, but just so the commission is aware.
The ones that we have listed, excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
No, go ahead.
The dates that we have as optional, those dates would be ones that we don't have at this particular time any business that has to transpire on those dates, that being rules or proclamations. So whether you meet at all is strictly a function of whatever the commission decides.
Certainly. And then, Mr. Chairman, on September 27 and 8, I will be out of state. And on February 21st, I'm required to be in Knoxville at the end of the day. And so just informationally, if I don't know which meetings, if any, have been set in locations beyond Nashville, but that is a date that is a required meeting that I would just want to make the chairman aware of, but certainly no need to adjust the schedule on my account.
To further elaborate on what the chairman said, those were suggested dates. We have made contacts in a couple of places in terms of logistics for meetings, but there are no contracts, there's nothing else, there's nothing binding, so those dates are flexible, and so are the locations.
Mr.
Well,
Chairman.
let's start, excuse me, go
I'm
ahead,
sorry.
Commissioner Cox.
From my perspective, I think it's important that while we're not required to have but 6 or 8 meetings, I think it's important for the commission, for continuity, for education, for the commission to meet 10 or 11 times. If you start skipping and meeting every other month, you lose a little in the translation, and there's always something to learn here. And I think skipping months, except maybe for having a December 1st for November and December, might, I think it's pretty important.
Thank you. Any other comments? Let's take it one at a time. August 23rd and 24th. What's the consensus of the commission? Is that agreeable with everyone? If so, all right, everybody that's agreeable to those dates, say aye. Aye. Okay. Director Carter, what about, can we come to Nashville? Is that all right to have that meeting here, or do you prefer?
In August?
Yeah.
Yes, sir, we prefer it to be here, actually.
All right, then the next meeting will be August 23rd and 24th in Nashville. I'd like to echo the comments of Commissioner Cox. From past experience, I think it is important. I think it's very helpful to meet on a regular basis. Usually, if we have a very limited agenda, the agency will let us know, and we can make it a one-day meeting. We had, I think last year, we had a couple of telephone conference meetings, and so anytime that we can do that and save money out of the budget, that's a welcome relief also. So with that in mind, September 27th and 28th. Now, Commissioner Woodson, you've got a problem. Do anyone want to suggest an alternative date? The week before, is that anybody have a problem with?
City Commissioner and us, speak.
Excuse me?
Gotta speak.
You may.
Being a city, and again, don't work around my schedule, but being a city commissioner in Johnson City, Tennessee, we meet the first and third Thursdays of each month. So definitely want to be here, and but I can't be both at the same place. So the first and third Thursdays is tough for me to get to on any of those months. So, but the 13th, I know that Ms. Woodson said that. Did you say that would the 13th work? I don't. I'm open, but I can't make it the first or third Thursday of that month.
Mr. Chairman, when does bow season open? Isn't it the 28th of September?
I think it's the 22nd, but
Fourth Saturday in September.
Mr. Chairman, as information the week prior to the dates currently proposed, I will be out of town.
The what?
The 20th and 21st, I'll be out of town.
Okay. Let me make this suggestion. Let's try to work as best we can to accommodate the dates, because of, under the new law, as you know, if anybody misses 4 commission meetings, you're off. You're automatically off. Now, that's a lot in 1 year, a lot of time to miss, but still, I think we need to try to work. But we obviously can't have meetings 1 week after the other. We're going to have some time span in between the meetings. So, again, if anybody has some suggestions.
Well, the proposed date on the 27th and 28th works for me, so.
What did someone have an issue with the 13th and 14th? Commissioner, were you okay on that day? Commissioner Woodson, were you good on September 13 and 14?
I think that a handful of the other commissioners may have a challenge with
Oh,
it. And
okay.
to make this move a
didn't-
little more
okay.
efficiently, members, if y'all will just forgive my absence, I will be out of state, and I appreciate the accommodation and the conversation. But no, certainly no worries whatsoever.
13th and 14th, Mr. Cox said there's only 2 weeks between meetings, so that isn't a whole lot of time either.
I think it's going to be obvious for 13 members of the commission. This is going to be real tough to always find a week 2 days that everybody's going to be able to make it. Obviously, if we already know that, that there's a Johnson City Commission involvement, we need to probably try to gear away from that because he can't miss 4 meetings, so we need to do that. But I'm just saying that if we pick one that we're sure Clayton can always be here, then we're going to have other people that's going to miss it. But we've got 4, and that's a lot, so.
And I'd be more than glad to look at the agenda schedule in Johnson City. If it's going to be light, I could possibly miss a meeting there occasionally as well.
And it may be also that it's sometimes that you can maybe still come down for Friday.
Yes,
you see what
sir.
I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And that still would count as a meeting. That's actually when we vote. So.
Okay, well, that's not an issue. Yes, sir.
And Mr. Chairman, if I could throw one more thing in, this is a bias from our side, that being the agency side. We generally push toward the end of the month because we set our staff meetings for the first Monday of every month. That gives us the chance to have all the staff meeting agenda items together, put together and mailed out to the commission in a timely fashion so that you have the information before the commission meeting so that you're familiar with some of the topics before you ever get here. We can rearrange our staff meetings and can do so if you have to meet earlier. It's just our preference by pushing them to the end of the month. It always gives us about 3 weeks to get the information together and to you.
Let's go ahead and stay with the 27th and 28th. There, as Commissioner McMillan said, there's going to be some time all of us are going to miss at one time or another. I'm sure we had last year a couple of people missed because of funerals and things of that nature, things you can't avoid. But we that way we can, and as Commissioner Stout said, if he can come down, if you make one of those 2 days, you've made it, and certainly Friday is the day that we take the vote of the entire commission on matters that have been presented out of the meeting. So we'll say September 27th and 28th. What about October 20? Is that in Nashville?
September in Nashville?
Yeah, Nashville. Let's do that
Thank
in
you, sir.
Nashville. And then I know we were proposed, there's proposal that we go to Reelfoot Lake on the 25th and 26th due to it being their 200th anniversary. And I think a dedication up there, or at least some programs that will be going on regarding Reelfoot. So anyone have comments on that location? Yes, sir.
Just again, the reason we put that down for your consideration was exactly what you said. There have been no arrangements other than we've reserved a place to have the meeting if you want to go there. I know logistically it's a long way for some commissioners, but in any case, it was just a suggestion, but that's the reason it's on there, because of the 200-year anniversary. Certainly it's the commission's discretion.
Any discussion about the location?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'm not asking to move that date. It's no problem. I may also just be here on Friday. I'm carrying my father pheasant hunting that week, but I should make it by Friday. If I'm not here, it's no problem. Okay.
Anyone else? All right, we'll have the October meeting, 25th and 26th at Reelfoot Lake. Next meeting is November 29th. Direct-
Mr.
Go
Chairman,
ahead.
when is Thanksgiving this November?
It's
22nd. Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
why can we look going like the first week in December? That 29th's a little bit close to Thanksgiving, isn't it?
It's the week after Thanksgiving.
What, deer season?
But, I mean, that's fine. Whatever your preference is. And Director Carter, since we are a new commission, we're starting all over as far as meeting within the three grand divisions. Am I correct in that?
That's my interpretation.
Okay, so we've got July of 2013 that we will have covered all three grand divisions.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so we're okay there. We'll have covered Middle and West Tennessee with with the meetings in October and the next 2 meetings.
I don't think we have to set all of them, do we?
No, that's fine. Does anybody, do y'all want to go ahead and set like a December or that late November just for the sake of planning? Or would you rather do that at the September meeting?
Let's complete the 2012.
Okay.
November, December.
All right. What is the comment has been made that we finish out 2012, so what is your all's preference with regard to late November or, now Director Carter said they meet the first Monday.
29 and 30. so
29th works.
for the
That-
November meeting.
That's not a problem. One of the reasons we looked at that opening weekend of December is because of duck season opening.
Well, sometimes we don't.
What's that?
We don't know exactly when duck season will open, but will probably be the first week of December. That was the reason we shied away from the first week of December for a Thursday, Friday, but
Good idea.
What's the problem with November 29th, 30th?
Yeah.
Is there a conflict?
Is that all right?
Let's just wait and set it after we know what duck season is. Would that be okay? Because, I mean, I can't believe we'd wait till 8th of December to set duck season, isn't it? Because we have 60 days and it has to back up from the last day.
well, I think it opened on December the 3rd last year, so.
No, it was open Thanksgiving weekend.
Well, it opened for 1 week and closed, and then it
2 days.
Oh,
reopened.
is that what it was?
Yeah, and opened that, I guess, I don't know if it was a week or a weekend, but then it was closed till December, 1st of
But
December.
it won't be open again till Saturday, correct?
Deer season opens
So you could have it now, 30th, is that what we're saying? And it wouldn't conflict?
17.
You're saying, why can't it be?
Ed, or is this suggesting it'll only be a 1-day meeting? Or is that just the day you were going to start?
We actually thought that knowing, at this time, we don't know all that would be on the agenda, but our guess was that it would be a short enough agenda, you could only meet 1 day if you wanted to.
Okay. Why don't we do this? Why don't we just leave that a tentative date, look at whatever the duck season and so forth, and should have a little more information by the August meeting, don't you think?
We will, yes, sir.
Okay, let's do that. So, all right, then, we've set August for the 23rd and 24th in Nashville, September 27th and 28th in Nashville, October 25th and 26th at Reelfoot Lake, and we'll look at the November meeting at our August meeting, or look at setting a date for November in the August meeting. Okay. Is there any other further business to come before the commission at this time? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I could just make a request for the 2013 schedule, if the team at the agency wouldn't mind, if it, to the extent it's possible, to set our calendar as soon as possible for that full year, it would be very helpful. And it would just be a request. If it's not possible, that's all right. But it would, the quicker the dates can be set would be certainly very helpful to me.
We can do that.
Okay,
We'll give you some suggestions.
right, great. Commissioner Teague, thought you were, oh, that's what you wanted to? Okay. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
If we're going to have one-day meetings, would it not be more appropriate to have it on Friday instead of Thursday? Or, I mean, what y'all's thoughts about that? If we know going in months ahead, I mean, that's just my suggestion, but
I mean, I have no problem with
That would be my preference as well.
Okay.
And usually on a one-day meeting, you would come in the night before if you're from out of town, so.
Yeah, oh, that's good. I guess what we need to do is kind of have that understanding and look at it once we know for sure if it's a one-day meeting or not. When
Okay.
they have the agenda, know what's going to be on the agenda. But, yeah, I think that's a good idea, and it saves the agency money also. Okay. Anything further?
Yes, sir. I'll just make one more comment. Thank Commissioner Ripley for his comments about the orientation. I just wanted to say that there were a lot of staff people put in a lot of time to try to get ready. I hope it was wise use of your time. I hope that you felt like it was worthwhile to be here. And I really owe a big thanks to a lot of people who worked very hard on that. We'll try to do another orientation as we go along, but anyway, I just wanted to say thank you all for, I know we threw an awful lot on the table over the last 2 days, and your attention span was more than I could have ever stood, so I appreciate what you did. So, but thank you very much for that.
I just want to say that I am honored to work with all of you all on the commission and look forward to handling the commission matters. I know that we'll work well together. Look forward to a positive agenda, a positive term with this commission, and certainly hope that if anyone has any questions, any comments, any suggestions, don't be bashful. Don't keep them to yourself.
Yeah, I told Nat I was going to try to sit and be quiet, but I typically don't do that. But I will say that when I served previously, in comparing this group of ladies and gentlemen, I'm very impressed comparing the two, and it appears that this is an excellent choice of commissioners. And just my brief first impressions and talking to everybody, this is going to be a really fine group of people. So I'm glad to be here.
I just want to say, I think that the commission showed a lot of wisdom and judgment in putting Chairman Brown back in office. I think he brings a lot of professionalism, and I think he's going to do an excellent job starting forward with this new commission, and I'm proud that we've made that decision.
All right, if there's no further business, we'll be adjourned then till the August meeting.
Chairman, can I say one thing?
Yes, sir, Larry. Come on.
Larry Richardson, Ducks Unlimited. You don't get thanked very often, but thank you for your commitment in your recent meeting a few weeks ago to increase commitment to prairie potholes. We're facing probably some budget cuts with the Land and Water Conservation Act, and everything that the states do to help us improve the breeding grounds is certainly needed and appreciated. So thank you for your continued support.
Thank you. It's our pleasure. Y'all do a wonderful job. Probably wouldn't have a duck in Tennessee if it wasn't for DU.
I don't have to duck up on the platform.
Well, you're too close to Kentucky. All right, if there's nothing further, we'll stand adjourned.